Who wants to share? What are some of the learning points today? Who wants to share?
I think, Prince, one of the learning points that I really learned and take to heart that I think that will really help is the Tyler Storm presentation and the evaluation.
Beautiful.
Because the increase understand they're based on the emergency stuff that they want you to do. So the Tyler Storm presentation and the signs and symptoms, what I'm gonna expecting and what I'm gonna be checking on.
Beautiful. Okay, so I have some questions for you. I want somebody to read the first question for us as a group. Then you type your answer, whether you go for A, for B, for C, or for D. Who will read for me, please? Who will volunteer to read for me?
I can read it.
Okay.
What is the non-stop priority action upon receiving a report from the unlicensed assistants that the client is 6 hours post-thyroid surgery is upset due to finding blood on their gum?
Okay.
Evaluate the client respiratory status and auscultate the breath sound. Explain that the experience of breathing post-surgery is common and request the nurse aid to assist in changing the gum. Offer the assurance to the client that regarding the normalcy of breathing post-surgery, then proceed to the assessing the client pain level. Secure the dressing arrange for gum changes and notify the surgeon.
Okay. So what will you go for? Please, everybody, type your answer. Assuming I've set this question for you, what will you go for? What's your priority? You want to evaluate the respiratory status and auscultate for breath sounds. Why? Because this patient just had surgery. This patient is dripping blood. It could even be that the blood has formed, a hematoma around the neck. And so it is compressing the trachea. Okay? So please, evaluate the client's respiratory status and auscultate breath sounds. That's what you want to do before you do any other thing. Okay, so look, and this is the teaching point. The presence of blood on a gown may indicate significant incisional bleeding. Okay, that's what I was saying. Initially, it's crucial to prioritize assessing the client's respiratory status, including auscultation of breath sounds, especially over the tracheal area, to evaluate for potential tissue damage, tissue edema, and airway compromise. Okay, and following a comprehensive assessment and adherence to protocol for dressing, reinforcement, or change, it's imperative to promptly notify the surgeon regarding the extent of bleeding and all assessment findings. So when you have a patient like this, you want to quickly let the surgeon know. Then, while it's common for minimal bleeding to occur post-thyroid surgery, delegating the task of gown changing to the nurse's aid may not ensure proper client assessment. Because what is happening is more than just changing the clothes which have been soiled by blood. After all, clothes are clothes. We can get new clothes. But if the client is losing their life, then there's a problem. Okay? And then similarly, focusing solely on the client's pain level does not address the underlying issue. Okay, so let's try another question. Who will read this question for us, please? I need a volunteer, please.
Which gland is responsible for the production of thyroid releasing hormone?
TRH. Dr. Valentine, will you want to answer it?
It's hypothalamus.
Beautiful. And it is because of that diagram. If you remember, hypothalamus releases thyrotropin releasing hormone. Simple. You see? So if you learn the diagram very well, you should be able to ace every NCLEX question. Okay. I want another one to read this question for us, please.
The anterior pituitary gland is responsible for the releasing of which of the following hormones? T3, TSH, corticosteroid, cortisol, growth hormone, and corticotropin release hormone.
Okay,
I think it's the THS.
Pituitary gland. Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, remember that diagram, right? Remember, pituitary gland, it releases what? TSH. Hypothalamus releases TRH. and the thyroid gland itself releases free T4 and free T3. Okay, so that's beautiful. Okay, who volunteer read this question for us, please?
Which of the following signs and symptoms are typically associated with patients exhibiting extreme high level of T3 and T4? Choose as many as applied.
Huh.
Okay. T3 and T was
So which of the following signs and symptoms are typically associated with a patient exhibiting extremely high levels of T3 and T4?
Exophthalmosis, heat intolerance,
weight loss.
There's no weight loss here. It's only.
Sorry. Oh no. Okay, so that one is not.
The answer is exophthalmos, intolerance to heat, and smooth skin, right? Exophthalmos, intolerance to heat, and smooth skin. Let's continue. What are some of the diverse physiological functions attributed to the thyroid hormones T3 and T4 within the human body? Select all the functions that you believe are performed by T3 and T4. Number A, facilitating energy storage within cells. B, augmenting heart rate. C, activating the sympathetic nervous system. D, lowering the body's temperature. E, governing secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone by an anterior pituitary. Can somebody help me? What are the functions of T3 and T4? T3 and T4, what are the functions? Please.
augment heart rate, activating sympathetic nervous system,
Okay.
governing the secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone.
Who is this? Is it Valentine?
Yes.
Beautiful. Valentine, have you reviewed thyroid issues before, or you are just using the knowledge you acquired today to answer all these questions?
I'm just using the knowledge I acquired today.
Ooh. This is impressive. This is impressive. So it augments heart rate, it activates the sympathetic nervous system, and it governs the secretion of thyroid stimulating hormone by the anterior pituitary gland. Beautiful. Okay, I have another question for you. What is the probable underlying cause of patient symptoms, including palpitations, excessive sweating, heat intolerance, altered appearance, protruding eyeballs, and pretibial myxedema on the legs and the feet? Who can help me? What's your diagnosis? Somebody has protruding eyeballs, palpitations, heat intolerance. What's the answer? Is it thyroid nodule? Is it deficiency of iodine consumption? C. Is it Graves' disease? D. Is it hypothyroidism?
I think it's thyroid nodule.
Oh, remember we learned about Graves' disease, right?
Graves' disease.
Because the patient has bulging eyes, pretibial myxedema on the legs, altered appearance. Yeah, that's Graves' disease. Okay. So during the first trimester of pregnancy, if a patient is diagnosed with hyperthyroidism, which medication would you anticipate the healthcare provider to initiate? So hyperthyroidism in the first trimester of pregnancy, what medication can you give? Remember, we talked about methimazole, we talked about pathophysiology, we talked about so many things. But what medication will you want to give in the first trimester of the pregnancy? What medication will you want to give? And the medication is propylthiouracil. Okay? Again, please indicate the treatment options available for hyperthyroidism by selecting all applicable choices from the list provided. So, thyroidectomy, methimazole, levothyroxine, radioactive iodine. Which of these apply? If none of them apply as well, stay away from the question. Which of these apply? Which of these are used to treat hyperthyroidism?
Thyroidectomy, methimazole, radioactive iodine.
Good. Valentine, you're killing it. Seriously. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. So how do we deal with the thyroid gland? Remember, we learned that we can use a medical method, we can use a surgical method, and we can use ablation. Okay, good. Okay, I have another question for you. Considering the patient is 6 hours post-thyroidectomy and the cervical site appears clean, dry, and intact with no signs of excessive swelling, which position would be the most suitable for the patient at this stage? So in other words, what position should the patient be put in after surgery for thyroid gland? What position? Please tell me. What position? We learned it in class.
Semi-fowler.
Oh my goodness. Semi-fowler. And I'll show you again. This is how semi-fowler position is. If you have a patient who has had a thyroid removed, use semi-fowler position. Okay. Another question. What signs and symptoms following thyroidectomy warrant nursing intervention and raise concerns for the patient's well-being? What signs and symptoms following a thyroidectomy warrants nursing intervention and raise concerns for the patient's well-being? A, heart rate of 141 beats per minute, blood pressure of 228/120, and then temperature of 108.2 Fahrenheit. B, heart rate of 737 beats per minute, blood pressure of 62/44, temperature of 96.3 Fahrenheit. C, brittle hair, irritability, and diarrhea. D, bowel irrigation, drowsiness, enlargement of the thyroid gland. Which of these, after surgery, will cause you to say that, no, somebody needs to come and see this patient right away?
B.
You're saying B. So B means that the heart rate is low, the blood pressure is low. What were the causes of thyroid storm? Can somebody remember? What are the causes of thyroid storm? Can somebody remember? We said if the thyroid gland is manipulated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And then what did we say? We said that in thyroid storm, the temperature will be high, the blood pressure will be high, the pulse rate will be high. Look, do you remember that we said that thyroid storm is a clinical emergency? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes.
And so which of these criteria meets thyroid storm? Hypertension, increased heart rate, increased temperature.
Hypertension. A.
A. So yeah. So what signs and symptoms following thyroidectomy warrants nursing intervention? The answer is A, because this patient has a thyroid storm going on. Even though the thyroid gland has been removed, before it was removed, it released a lot of hormones into the body.